Yo, make it live in it. I want to debate him, bro. Yo,
You
listen.
can do a Benny
No, come here, though. You made a claim that I'm a grooming gang denier. Why are you running away for? He made a claim that I'm a grooming gang denier, and he can't provide any evidence. I'm basically trying to.
What's your name?
Sorry? My name.
Content over everything.
Yo, make it live in it. I want to debate him, bro. Yo,
You
listen.
can do a Benny
No, come here, though. You made a claim that I'm a grooming gang denier. Why are you running away for? He made a claim that I'm a grooming gang denier, and he can't provide any evidence. I'm basically trying to.
What's your name?
Sorry? My name's Osama. I'm from Luton, yeah? And he basically comes and he talks a lot of shit about Pakistanis, yeah? Says we're this, we're that, and our culture promotes grooming, even though in our country, there's a death penalty for anyone that even rapes a child. Like for example, there was a child in Pakistan, her name was Zainab, and she got raped by a man, and he got sentenced to death for basically raping a child. And the whole of Pakistan's happy about it. So I don't like it when he blames my religion and culture for grooming. Because
He said you specifically are grooming gang denier.
no, he says Pakistani, he goes, yeah, my people, my culture promotes grooming. Even though he gives a flawed statistics, which he quotes Quilliam. He says 84% of groomers are Pakistani males, yeah? And the funny thing is, Quilliam has no authority to talk about grooming because as we can see, they got their sources from articles, from news articles. So they basically Googled it up and said grooming gangs, yeah? And basically what came up was Pakistanis. But the thing is, the next day researchers came and they Googled it and they found out 100 perpetrators of white grooming gangs. But the thing is, they weren't labelled as grooming gangs. What they're usually labelled as paedophilia rings, or the ethnicity is not usually mentioned. So basically the media is very selective when it comes to grooming. They love it when there's a Pakistani man, they will automatically say grooming. But when it comes to like a white males, they'll say paedophilia rings. So the thing is, Raj he's a hypocrite. When I challenge him, I try to have an intellectual debate with him, but the thing is he's very scared. He knows he'll get intellectually refuted. That's why he keeps running away. He made a false claim against me in his video in Raj Speaker's Corner saying I'm a grooming gang denier. But I do admit there is a problem. Muslims as well.
Why did he say that?
I have no idea.
Where does he know you from?
I don't know, because I came up to him once, I said to him, like, why are you saying that most Pakistanis are groomers, blah, blah, blah. I came up to him, I asked him, and then he goes, oh, that's what the statistics say. I'm like, bro, I'll show you statistics from the National Crime Agency. I'll show you CEOP study, which is from the government. I'll show you authentic studies, not studies which have been academically flawed, like William. And I can give you my sources as well.
Differently now.
So, when you said that Pakistan has the death penalty just flat out for rape.
Yeah, yes it does. I can show you the sources.
Okay, well, I just read a source that says that, there's the option to take blood money instead of...
Yes.
Okay, so it's not as if people automatically get killed for rape. It can be that instead of a person getting punished, they just need to pay some money, even though they've committed the rape.
So it depends on the family. If the family wants the perpetrator to be killed, they can get them killed. If not, they can accept blood money. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
It's up to the family though, because it's up to their hands what justice is. Like
Okay.
they want to promote, if they want to get death penalty, they can. And most of the time, it's death penalty. Rarely we see like blood money, but yeah, there is an option.
Okay.
Do
you think that can sort of lead to some corruption, where like if you're a powerful person, you can like persuade people like you better kind of pay
there
the
could be a
blood
possibility. I do agree with that. If a country is corrupt and those people are very poor, they could take advantage of the system and just give them money. But to be honest, I don't really see that really happening, because if someone's family or someone's little sister gets raped and them just accepting blood money, I doubt it, to be honest. But in Pakistan, like if you heard the case about Zainab, I'm sure you must have heard about it. Some little child got raped. It's all over the news.
Okay.
She was 6 years old and she got raped by a man. And what happened was that person got a death penalty.
Okay, that's
and it was
good.
very famous in the whole of Pakistan.
That's awesome.
And I really hate.
But there's a report that was done by, or an investigation done by AP News, which is like this news organization about
Associated Press.
Yeah, Associated Press. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. About abuse in madrasas, basically.
Yes,
so,
in Pakistan.
Yeah, in Pakistan.
Okay.
And it said that because of this sort of blood money clause, and because kind of often these kind of people like madrasas kind of aren't organized or centralized.
Is blood money exclusive to madrasa though?
No, it's not exclusive. No, I'm not saying that. But I just like maybe I can just give you the sort of reports for you to read in full.
So children are getting abused in the madrasa, and those perpetrators, the parents of the children, are accepting blood money for the abuse to the children.
Yeah, because of
I haven't really heard of it, to be honest.
That's what he claims. You can say that that's wrong class.
Of course, I do agree with wrong, but I haven't seen much cases of that, to be honest. Maybe you can show me a social press. Like I told you, the case about the Zainab, the little child got murdered. He got the perpetrator got the death penalty. So if there's cases in madrasas, then I really despise that and I do condemn it.
But it's I just like, it sounds reasonable when you kind of agreed before that. If we're trying to prevent an option, a possibility of a corruption, that this seems like kind of a a provision like blood money, which could be liable to corruption if you have like a powerful family versus a poor family, if you're living in kind of like a sort of more rural area where there isn't like kind of strict rule of
What's
law,
your point
then
to
you
him,
could.
my brother? What's your point to him?
I'm just like wondering.
You want him to condemn the acts of these people that he doesn't know
he
of?
obviously
No,
he
but I already
does.
told him
No,
that
I'm not.
it'd be rare for someone to accept.
Obviously,
No,
whenever you speak to
we're
Muslim-
having a reasonable discussion
Yeah.
here. We
He
don't
has
need.
that agenda.
No, well,
Yeah.
okay. The sex.
I've seen him before.
You know this
The
guy?
the
Yeah, I've
first.
seen him.
Yeah,
His
so
name's right.
yeah, so
No,
I know.
we're having
But
a
like,
discussion.
but we've clarified that it's not like automatic the death penalty for rape. It can
Like I said, it's up to the family, right?
Yeah,
If the
okay.
family wants
Yeah,
the
in
death penalty
theory.
for the person that gets raped, it's up to them.
Okay.
But to be honest, like I told you
Okay.
already, in the cases of Pakistan, for my country, most of the time they do accept the death penalty
Okay.
for the children. But if they want to accept blood money, it's up to them, right?
Okay.
So you disagree with the family accepting the blood money?
Yeah, I think that's a system that's liable to abuse.
Well, let's say if
and
the country is not
corruption.
corrupt. Let's say if the government the system is organized.
Okay.
And it's basically just up to the family without having any pressure from the government or people.
Okay.
And they want to accept blood money, then you object that.
I think I would still object because
It's up to the family though. Because
But
in Sharia,
wouldn't-
this is the same thing as well.
Wouldn't it be better for it to be up to the individual? Because you could imagine
The individual as in the-
so you
but
could
she's dead though.
if it's rape, she's not dead.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's what happens.
Oh, okay.
It's up to the,
So
it's up
blood
to the
money-
individual and family.
Okay,
I thought you
okay,
talking about
okay.
rape and death.
Oh,
you
I
just
see.
talking about rape. Okay, cool. It's
Okay.
up to the individual.
Okay.
So that's up to them.
I mean,
then.
even then, like kind of, there's an argument against that as well because
So that she's influenced by the government and peer pressure for accepting money.
Yeah, so it's
That could
like
happen in all
it's like
cases.
in our legal system, if someone gets seriously abused, like it's seriously attacked, they might still not want to press charges because like for example they might know
She's
the
scared.
person who's attacked them or they
Alright.
might feel scared. In that case, often the legal system will say no, it's not your decision. It's for the good of society. We are going to go forward and prosecute even though we don't. So I think there's an argument that could be made against blood money at all. But the reason why I brought this up was just to show that it's not automatic that the rapist who gets caught gets death in Pakistan. It can go to blood
It's
money.
up to the individual, like
Yeah,
I said.
Yeah. So the second thing was you said that like the UK is kind of the rape capital, but
I didn't say that. I said India.
you said India.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said his country, and I thought you meant when Raj said like.
He's originally from India.
Okay, so I
And
thought
he
you
is
were
the rape
I thought you were
capital.
referring to like the UK being.
So you
his
disagree
country.
with that India is the rape country?
I still think South Africa has a higher like rate of rape, and I think there are kind of other countries that you could say.
Well,
have
we
a
know
higher,
India tops it though. India is very top when it comes to rape.
It's probably like quite high, fairly
It's
high in the
very
fairly
high.
high in the rankings.
I'm
I'd
not
say
sure about
so.
the official statistics, but I'm
Yeah.
sure it's probably top
But-
5 or top 10.
Okay, those are the kind of two sort of.
Yeah, but I didn't say
issues.
UK. I didn't say that. I said
Yeah,
India.
well, you said his country and Raj.
He's
that lives
originally
in
from
the UK.
India,
But
though.
if you meant India, that's fair as well.
Yeah, of course, he's
Okay,
originally
okay,
from
that's
India.
fine.
So that's
Okay.
it,
Oh, and I want to show you. Like, we'll go off
About-
the camera now.
yeah, that's
but
fine.
I want to show you this AP News report. So I searched to the AP News, and the name of it's this report: Islamic schools in Pakistan plagued by sex abuse of children. And so it's an interesting report, and it sheds light on how the blood money system has been abused, and not just in a couple of cases. This is just like the interesting part. You should read it through fully
Of
yourself.
course, I would love to.
Yeah,
I'd love
yeah.
to. Because
But
it's my
like,
country, and if that's happening, then I would love to do something about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because I'm going this December.
Yeah, so if you just remember that headline, AP News, it will definitely come up on
Yeah,
Google. And
100%,
so
yeah,
the best time for you, like obviously if I tried to show it to you here, you wouldn't have time to read it all
Yeah, of
fully.
course,
so
of course, I'll
yeah,
read it,
better
yeah.
to read it full.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah,
What's your
thank
name?
you. My name's Osama. What's your name?
James.
James, yeah, I know you, James already.
Yeah, and don't listen to some people like automatically say, "Oh, watch out for this guy." He's
No, I've
he's
seen your
sneaky."
debates. At the start, you were very sincere, and you're listening to Muhammad Ajab and these and Sabur Ahmed as well.
I
And
don't think
after
I'm
you just
sincere.
changed your tone a bit. Like the way you like been debating has just changed. Like from my experience, from what I saw. What changed? What changed for you?
I
What
have been
changed?
slightly influenced, I have
What
to say,
changed you?
by this gentleman here, who's saying that I brought a slightly. I've taken his views on board, and we've clashed in.
Raj, you want to come in?
previously.
No, I just wanted to say in general, James is right about
Yeah.
South Africa being some of the highest
Yeah,
rape
yeah.
capital in the
What about
world.
India?
But it's weird because India is actually, the UK, funny enough, has a higher rape rate than India.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird because we do get fed this idea that India is pretty bad when it comes to this rape.
Yeah, it is.
But I was watching. There's a men's rights conference that goes on every year in the summer, and there's an Indian speaker who actually comes. And I was shocked when he told me that the UK has a higher rate of rape than India. So I did the actual checking, and it's actually true. So
That's
be very
surprising.
careful what you accept. But I would say in India that it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's still pretty
Child
bad.
abuse is like 50%.
Yeah.
So
There's always
it's pretty bad.
It's always kind of about how many of the rapes get reported. So
That's another
you only
thing
know
as
the
well.
reported rapes incidents. So it could be that India is worse, but people don't report it.
But do you know
It's
what
hard to tell.
Do you know what I find? rape is such a curious case because people take it so seriously, but at the same time they don't really give it the credit to divulge even further as to how complex the crime is. And the fact that we're even able to prosecute it as an actual crime is amazing, to say the least. Because when something gets stolen, right, or something gets robbed or whatever, we have the evidence that the physical thing is missing, right? So the police can go off that, and then they can hopefully trace back, find breadcrumbs. With rape, it literally is the testament of something.
Yeah,
Because sex happens in a very private environment and no one is invited to come and view the sex. So you literally have no evidence apart from like if it's really violent rape and then you can, there's bruising, etc.
Or if it's like a children or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even still, someone was telling me the other day that even in some cases where the woman does get aroused and she has lubrication happen, whatever, the body apparently has been theoreticized to adaptive features. So basically when women do get raped, to prevent a lot more kind of bruising, a lot more scratching, they do get wet. So just how complex is that? And then if she's not showing any bruising but she's saying she's got raped, do you believe her? Do you not? Do you take on board the fact that her body may have responded in response to trying not to get bruised? It's such a complex issue, and a lot of people don't really give it enough time to actually
I agree with that.
to actually talk about it. Because I mean, if we have such a moral outcry about, or moral kind of like disgust about it, surely we should spend more of our time actually researching the topic. But I don't find people do, which is a little bit annoying at times.
So how do you improve the legal cases for rape? So how do we like you said testimony? Yeah, we rely on testimony. So how do we improve the legal precedents when it comes to rape? Like how do we accept someone's testimony?
See, I don't think anyone has the answer, and it's really hard because nowadays people are taking a stance of believing the victim, right? Which is it's admirable because obviously there's like James was saying, there's a lot of women who feel scared to come out for a number of reasons: society, religion, what have you. There's a lot of reasons. Again, a lot of women who become dependent on pimps or people in general because they have nothing else and they have to give them sex. There's a lot of things that unfortunately forces women and men, I should say, and men into these situations. So I think one of the biggest problems about believing the victim is that there's a lot of people who use it with malice as well, and that's very dangerous. That is very dangerous. So I don't have an answer for that because it's a really hard case to prove, and the fact that we even have the fact that we even have for me personally, conviction rate is impressive to say the least. We can do better, but unless you stick cameras on everyone and the cameras are on 24/7, I don't really see how we're gonna get any better than this. To be honest,
we invent lie detection.
Oh well, there's that as well. There's that, but the ones that we've got now, they're good, but they're not like 100%.
Yeah. No, you could maybe sedate people partially, so that they can't even think about lying, and then just like kind of, if we could do that reliably, that would kick so much ass. Just know who's lying.
Trying to hide it because you're reading the comments.
Oh no, I can if you want. I just didn't want this to turn into a video. I thought you were done recording. I was done. It wasn't a topic. Fair enough.
It's always recording all the time.
No, I was gonna say they have this new thing where it's before it used to be it's not the pedometer. That's the steps, isn't it? They had the thing that basically hooked onto your heart rate and would kind of measure the flutters in your heart rate to tell whether you're lying or not. And that was not completely accurate, but it was it was the best thing that we had going. Now they're trying to do this thing where it notices the chemicals in your brain. So when you lie or when you feel nervous or you don't feel confident about answering something, you have an instant explosion of chemicals within your brain because you know that you're not really kind of like telling the truth here. So they're trying to implement that, but I think it costs a lot of money. Like if you know MRIs and stuff like that, just to produce an image, it's like really expensive. This is why NHS don't really jump to giving everyone tests because it's stupidly expensive. So rape is a hard one. It's a hard one. It's a really hard one. And I feel sorry for the victims because a lot of the times we have conversations about these things and their voices get left behind. But then at the same time, there's people who have been falsely accused and they're victims as well, but people don't see that. So it's a really difficult topic to kind of discuss.
Also about the researching as well, like when people identify the people that have been groomed, for example Quilliam, they make false articles and they blame it on a specific immigrant group, which is very problematic. Because like just like they, I was before you came, we were talking about Raj about grooming, and I denied the Quilliam statistics, and he said I'm a grooming gang denier just because I denied the statistics of Quilliam. So it's very problematic.
I think the thing is, you're always going to get people who will throw whatever label they can at you because if they can't really attack your statistics, you're kind of reading your research.
Yeah.
The next best thing is your character. So the idea of being a rape apologist is the most foul thing on this planet.
Of course.
Like a lot of people, as soon as they hear that, they wouldn't even like give you the time of day.
Yeah, of course.
So for people like Raj, Mani Sinda, all of these people, it's about defiling your character so that they don't have to address your arguments.
Yes.
If they don't have to address your arguments, then that's the work done for them. Now the problem, like you were saying, with identifying certain people, because 5 years ago, it wasn't Muslim groomers. 5 years ago, it was white, cis, straight males. And I was completely against that because you can't... The worst thing is that rapists make up less than 5% of our population. So the fact that you're taking less than 5% of our population and then generalizing it to the whole of the population,
Of course.
it's it's scientifically not even valid. It's not accurate. It's nothing. You can't do that. You have to have a significant kind of like evidence or significant influence or significant percentage in order to make a generalization that actually is impactful. So for me personally, when people kind of like put rapists in the bracket of religion, race, gender, or whatever, it doesn't really help the situation at all because it gives other people more kind of like incognito to basically do the crimes, and because people won't suspect them, they end up doing it. So it's problematic. But I don't know, James, do you have anything to add?
I think if you make a precise statement, it's okay, and you say things with nuance.
Yeah.
So like saying that most Pakistani men are groomers would be like atrocious.
Ridiculous.
Saying that Pakistani men are overrepresented relative to their population size in grooming gangs would probably be a more reasonable statement because it's not just Quilliam who's made that observation, it's also the prosecutor in the Northwest who like actually prosecuted and was in charge of prosecutions in like maybe all of Yorkshire or something, and he was of Pakistani heritage himself. He said like, look, I've overseen like all of these cases have gone through my office, and it's been sort of like overrepresented, these Pakistani men. So if you make a precise statement, I don't see the problem with that necessarily.
Yeah, I think for me, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like one of those things where if people bring up the Quilliam study to me, I'll roll my eyes a lot of the times and I will just look away from them because that's not the statistics that you should go off. What Quilliam did, unfortunately, is over a span of 17 years, they found 200 and something cases. Now, if you know anything about child abuse, we know that there is nearly 50,000 claims to child abuse yearly. So 243, that's not matching up to the statistics of the NSPCC. So we need to find out why isn't there even more supposedly Pakistani people raping gangs and etc. Why are they not being prosecuted, etc. But the problem I have in particular, when I guess again, I don't have a problem if it was 90% black, right, that were being prosecuted for rape, and these were convictions. I wouldn't have a problem with saying, you know what, there's something in our culture that we need to address because convictions don't lie, numbers don't lie, anything. But if these aren't conviction numbers that we're talking about, and these are surveys by Quilliam, or these are surveys by the New York Times, then we need to have a look more. We have to have a deeper look into how they managed to get those statistics. Be a bit more skeptic about what's their agenda at the time as well. But furthermore as well, we need to understand just how broad of a spectrum child abuse is, because some people seem very content in saying that, oh, we need to concentrate on this child abuse, forget about the other child abuse. And I think, well, hang on, child abuse is child abuse in its entirety. Like, the whole point is that we're supposed to be safeguarding children.
Well,
go on.
I think there's a converse way of looking at things, and that's someone could say you can't solve every problem at once, and so there's no harm in like looking at a particular form of child abuse and trying to solve that, because I think, I believe that did the Quilliam study not make it clear that it was like focusing on street kind of in-person grooming gangs rather than like sort of all child abuse or all rape? So
absolutely.
If you're being specific and you're looking at a specific problem, where I'd agree with you is that if someone shows, that they don't even think of other forms of abuse as a problem, then that would be inconsistent. But simply like kind of there could be someone whose main kind of way he wants to make the world better is to focus on recycling, and it wouldn't be fair to say to him like, why aren't you trying to
No, absolutely,
stop
yeah,
malaria? Or, so
the all or nothing argument, I definitely agree with that, because I think that's another way for people to really put down someone's efforts in trying to actually get some information out. And I would definitely agree with that sentiment if it wasn't necessarily for the various people who have then gone to read the Quilliam study and actually kind of like address its limitations. Because one of the biggest limitations about the Quilliam study is that it didn't even give how their method of collecting data actually happened. So people couldn't actually go and what's the word? Repeat exactly, to produce similar statistics that would make it, make it valid. Now the problem with that is that people then took it upon themselves to go and find out if they could find out differentiating results, right? And they found that Quilliam, where they found three gangs, which were a mixture, mostly white British males. This newspaper article managed to find 100 more.
Yeah.
And this was sadly within a day and a half they managed to find these articles. And they found out the difference is that the term grooming gang is often reserved for groups of, not specifically only, because you will find grooming gang articles where there are different races. But the problem is that title seemed to be reserved mostly for people of Asian specific. That's what happened. And when they found all of these other gangs, they were called paedophile rings. Yeah. They were called rings. They were called, one of the articles goes as far as to call them thugs. Now for me, a thug is someone who is hostily violent. I don't think of a paedophile as a thug, a child abuser. There's a difference between the two. But I don't think of a child abuser as a thug. I feel that's someone who is a disgusting human being.
They're also
they may be or may not be thugs. Like they may use violence or may not.
I know, but I feel like the kind of like allocating of the term thug kind of diminishes the actual kind of damage that child abuse does. It takes it away from the spectrum of child abuse and more of a, the person's a bit of a rough lad. He just gets into trouble all the time, and it's like, no, these are child abusers. Let's label them for what they are. And I think where we're talking about grooming gangs specifically, and you said that you don't have a problem with people choosing a specific thing, I absolutely agree, because rape is only a part of child abuse. I imagine the majority of it is physical. That's what I'd imagine anyway. Physical, neglect, etc. Because it's like, it's such a broad spectrum. But the problem I have with just labeling it grooming gangs in particular is because the reason the CEOP study that I keep bringing out, right, did any study in general is because a lot of this activity now is moving online. So even the street gang mentality, it's becoming a lot less popular amongst these people who would abuse children. Because on the street, you physically have to go up to a child, or you physically have to be there in order for your presence to actually make any difference, to groom them or to bring them into that form of lifestyle. Whereas online, the window of opportunity is much shorter, right? Your anonymity is a lot more. You don't have to go in person to see the child, and you can groom them via messages, instant messages, any kind of, even video games nowadays. So that's one of the biggest problems. It's now moving online, but because we keep painting it now to be a street thing, people are concentrating on the street, not realizing that your children are not any more safer indoors with an iPad than they are on the street, at 9 o'clock. So that's a really big problem.
I mean, I'd prefer kind of, if I had an 11-year-old daughter, her being kind of in my house, kind of using her internet device than on the street at 9 p.m. or in a takeaway shop at 9 p.m. But there is still a danger.
No, I understand. There's definitely levels of risk. So, if she's out alone, she's definitely probably more at higher risk. Well, I don't really know the statistics. Let me find out and I'll come back next week. I don't really know. I shouldn't open my mouth. But I'd imagine what you're saying is probably consistent.
Sometimes we won't have the statistics at hand, but we still need to just kind of make the best guess we can.
And
so
absolutely.
If let's say we couldn't find kind of whether there's a controlled kind of comparable to statistics of online to outdoors, I'd probably still just kind of go with my my feeling and say kind of, no, I definitely prefer in my house online than outdoors.
No, I definitely agree. I just think sometimes in the park, what a lot of people do is that they do go with their guts, and someone may come with contradicting information in the next week, and there's a lot of pride in there.
Yeah.
So I always like to make it clear that it's it's a continuous conversation, and that if information does come about next week, then us three learn different, then we make that obvious and we make that open, we make that public, kind of thing.
Okay.
But no, you're absolutely right. For the time being, we can go with our gut instinct, and definitely, my gut instinct would be I would rather her in the house because I can keep an eye on her a little bit more.
But your child lock on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, child lock. But it's weird. People seem to be getting past all of these loopholes. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're always going to be upping your game, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
it's not right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, if a problem is specific and the evidence, like legitimate evidence, is there for us to all see, then I don't really see a problem in stating that a certain community has a problem. I was one of the first people back in the day to say that the black community has a problem with knife crime and gang culture and whatever, and that we should fix it. Like, that wasn't a problem to me. I didn't see it as a racial thing. I didn't really see it as something that was bringing us down as people, because ultimately I didn't like seeing black people getting stabbed on the street. It literally came down to that. So for me personally, I don't see a problem, but I think where there's an agenda, sometimes I do have to point it out is all. And I've presented various information while I've been here at the park, and I've seen certain people who know that information and they just still carry on kind of spouting out the same narrative. I mean, we even had the Sikh groomer. The Sikh groomer, who was the kingpin of the whole situation. Now, I don't really see Muslims running to say that, look at Sikh culture, this is what Sikh culture does. But we had a whole bunch of people basically saying that Sikh people, for some reason, would never be involved in these situations or these crimes because they're a lot less repressed than Muslims. They spend time with their women, etc. You can go and see the videos, they're still online. But yet, we have situations like this that occur where the head was a Sikh person. Nothing to do with the culture, nothing to do with the religion.
The funny thing is, the Sikh people like Mani Sindha, they denied he was a Sikh and said he was a Muslim. And then
I think they said that he converted to Sikh.
Yeah, but that wasn't true at all. It was proven that it was wrong. He was actually a Sikh. And that's what happens.
You have to give a shout out to the actual organizations within the Sikh community though, because the SAS they actually came out and actually kind of like, one, they went to do the research, they went to find the actual person in particular and the person in top in question. They found out about his family background, they found out about his religion, they found out about like his upbringing, etc. And they were very honest and they were very open and they were very forthcoming about it, because they were like, we see this situation as a problem that affects girls. It's not about religion, it's not about rivalry, it's not about tribe. And they just, like, it was just so refreshing to see that amount of openness and honesty from a community that does feel slightly affected by, say, the Muslim community. The fact that they know that this is not a good look, they were still able to be honest with it. And that, I can take that kind of legitimacy. Yeah, go. I can take that legitimacy seriously. And I can take that kind of credibility as someone who's trying to fix the problem. But my biggest problem nowadays, I think, is going online, and there's people out there now, everyone's so popular with these streams, and they're very kind of like obsessed with spewing out the same rhetoric and narrative, even though people have proved it wrong. I don't understand how you can do that. Someone comes to the park, gives you information, you can't prove them wrong. You don't go home and do more research. No, you just keep spewing the same rhetoric. I don't understand that.
And the thing is, people are getting more concerned as well, because I know there's like a genuine concern of like British people, their children are getting raped. We understand that. But the thing is, like I said to you, like when you basically blame it on a specific community and population, this is where it starts to get problematic. Because like you said, when some people come up to me and tell them I'm Pakistani, oh, you lot are groomers. And that's like a very...
You see, that's
ridiculous
that's
to hear.
That's just a classification the government created to put Muslim people in. Just like how if a white person commits, goes and shoots up the bar like he did in the States the other day, he's not a terrorist, he's mentally ill. So if a Pakistani guy or a Muslim guy is basically a pimp, because that's what they were pimps. They were pimping these girls. They're not pimps, they're groomers. If it was a white prostitution ring or a white pimping gang, they wouldn't be called groomers, they would be called pimps. Just like there was a couple of young white guys around in their early 20s. They got this girl, got her hooked on her Class A drugs and all this stuff. They were pimping her out. I think it was in Coventry or something like that. I'm not exactly sure where. They were pimping her out, everything. They didn't call it a grooming gang. It was called a prostitution thing. Why was that? Because they were white. If they had been brown or if they whatever, they would have been called grooming gang. That's basically all it is.
That's exactly what William did as well. When they mentioned the articles, they mentioned the grooming gang articles, but when it came to the white perpetrators, they didn't mention them. Why? Because they were called pedophilia rings. Or they were called thugs, like you said.
But this is the problem. Like, I feel like a lot of people love to make money off false kind of like concern, and this is what scares me a lot of the times and what makes me nervous, the fact that people can pretend that they care about child rape just to make a bit of money.
I think Tommy
And
Robinson's
They
one
don't
of them.
care.
They don't give a shit.
I think Tommy
They
Robinson's
don't
one of them.
care.
It's like
I don't
the
think he cares.
Americans.
I don't
None
think he
of
cares.
them
Americans,
care,
they
and
go
I've been
bomb
saying
the
this from
crap
day
out
one.
babies. They go bomb the crap out babies. They put them in jail, like Trump put them in the cages. Oh, you want abortion? Oh, we're gonna kill you if you even think of having an abortion. Oh, you want abortion? How dare you? That baby. But once that baby is alive, they don't care about it. It's just hypocrisy. They just want to control people.
I
That's
think
it.
what you were saying earlier about you had British gentlemen basically coming up to you and saying you're Pakistani, you're a rapist, whatever, blah blah blah, child groomer, whatever. I think that shows just the level of hypocrisy and the kind of fragile ego that you get from a lot of white working class British males that do come to this corner, unfortunately, and feel like they have this kind of moral obligation to tell other people to stop doing what they are very heavily involved in. And I've talked to a few of them a lot of the times, and when I confront them with the sins of their own nature, a lot of the times they will run and say, oh, it's the elite, oh, it's the government. They will never address the fact that they have systematic child abuse problems within their communities. There's no mystery why a lot of these crimes happen in places like Rotherham, Telford. These are all run-down socio-economic places where people, all they're concerned about is sex, drugs, crime, a lot of the times. And a lot of rich people don't even have much to do with these people just because of that kind of nature. I spoke to a gentleman the other day and he came from that kind of area and he shuddered. This is a British gentleman as well.
Online paedophilia is nearly entirely a white person thing, white male domain. Online paedophilia, white male domain. And that can't even compete with anything these guys are doing,
But I was just about to say, I don't think that's the thing. I don't think other people are trying to paint it out to be a competition. I think that's the most important
but they
thing.
just want to
But that
paint
is
it.
that is
they
it.
want to say they want to say if you commit this crime, it has a different classification to when a white person commits the crime.
Absolutely.
Just like with cocaine and crack.
I mean, I'll give you an example, right? A lot of the times I hear the EDL are coming down to this park, and I find out utterly hilarious because EDL, DFLA, or whatever, right? You won't find a Muslim in this park that's been convicted of any child crimes. But you have various people within the DFLA and the ADL who have been convicted of child grooming, rape, and molestation. No one speaks about this.
Yeah.
People like Raj won't say a word to them. People like Manny won't say a word to these people. They will never call them out.
Because their house, innit? Coconut wood.
But that's the thing. That's the problem.
Basically.
So I think where my frustration lies is people pretending that they care about young people, or they care about children, etc. When they have all it is for them is just means to an end.
Yeah.
And I think it's very dangerous that there's people actually following these people and actually listening to their mentality. But the thing is, I find it telling that these people are the same people standing with child abusers, molesters, and paedophiles, telling other people to stop abusing children. Like Raj has been seen with the EDL. None of them have called out the EDL. None of them within their panels have called out the EDL. But they've all been convicted. Well, not all of them, sorry. There have been a few people who've been convicted of all of these crimes. And then furthermore, on their Facebook groups, people have actually found that certain people have said, hide this, make this go away. We can't let people know that our organization has this going on. So the protection of children is not their paramount. It's not their a priority. And I think people need to start understanding this and stop giving these people time of day, the pleasure, or even the kind of
a divided society is easier to control, basically. That's why we see the funding. It doesn't come from the man in the street. It comes from the higher ups. The 1%, whatever, who provide the money so these guys can go out and do whatnot. Like look at Tan's website. Where did Tan get the money for that? Yeah. Okay.
Where's Tan now?
Exactly, but yeah. But
Where's Tan now?
Where is Tan now? But where did he get the money originally? Just because the money may come from dark donors or whatever, does not mean that those dark donors also will be able to control the police up to the full extent, or the CPS, or wherever up to that extent. Yeah. They can provide the money, but they may not be able to provide the political support. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And I think you touched on a really good point about the money as well. Just in particular, I mean, a lot of people now are starting to ask questions about Tommy Robinson's bank account, right? A lot of people are now saying that, he stands to make £1 million just by traveling to America, right? This is a gentleman who fights for the working class. He comes with very dressed up, designer clothing. This is not a working class gentleman.
He's a pimp.
This is not a working class gentleman. Even a lot of the working class boys who come down here, they come down dressed with the worst fashion sense, but you can tell a lot of their stuff is quite high value, right? Fair enough, they don't know how to dress. That's not an offense to them. I just don't like their style. I find it very tacky. But a lot of them claim to be working and speaking for the working class. I've met working class people. These people don't represent British working class people.
I've never seen working class people.
I've never seen people I've served talk with such ignorance, such ill manner, and such absolute contempt for other people born out of ignorance as well. So I don't know. I feel like people need to slightly move on in the park from this conversation, because it's showing that people in the UK don't really give a shit about children. They don't.
We should do more to help the victims, man. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Instead of coming here talking all the time, let's
Seriously.
do something. Let's go and help the victims.
Seriously, everyone turns it into such a Jeremy Kyle show, but 6 months on, none of us have done anything to help
Because
children.
people don't care. It's something to talk about, something to go hoo-ha, something to get views and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, people don't care about working to fix the situation.
Hello. What are we talking about?
Who said? Come on in. Leo's recorded. I was just talking about why they say if a brown person commits a crime, it's a major thing, but if a white person commits the same crime, no one cares. That's what we're talking about, really. Like how, when you got white pedos and whatever and pimps, they're not called a grooming gang, but because it's a brown person, they're called a grooming gang. That's what we're talking about, basically. You know what I mean? Just like it's exactly the same thing of where, if a white guy wants to do cocaine, it's not a big deal, but if a black guy wants to do crack, we're going to throw the book at him. That kind of crap. It's just different laws for different races, basically. That's what it is. Like, it's all racist, man. I don't even know why I'm even wasting my time, but it's all racist. Even let's just take America, right? They legalize weed, yeah? They're not stopping white guys, white kids. They're stopping just black kids and Latino kids. So why are they stopping the white kids? The white kids, their stop and search rate has gone into minus because they're not even getting stopped at all for drugs or anything like that. But all the black kids, all the brown kids, they're getting stopped. Their stop and search rate has skyrocketed, whereas for the white kids, it's fallen. So you can just see for yourself, it's all to do with racism. Even when you have like high crime stats for a certain ethnic group, it's just because they're over-policed. That's it. If the police spend all their time just chasing after black people, then obviously all the black people are going to have high crime rates. If they chase all the white people, then the white people are going to have high crime rates. For the exact same things, you just see it. It's all about who you police. Normally, like if a white person does a similar offence, they're let off with a warning. Black person, brown person, you got a fine or you're going to jail. You know what I mean? It's all racist policing, and it goes up to racist. Wordplay by the media, and then that goes into it all comes down from the top down, really. The government decides, and then the media and everything plays along by whatever thing that the government has done. As long if the economy is going down, then the government needs everybody to fight each other, hate each other. They need the black guy to fight the white guy, the brown guy to fight the black guy. That's what it is. It's what it is control, hate and control. That's it. They don't want people to chat or get on with each other. They don't want people to hang out. They want people to hate each other, be divided across racial lines, class lines, religious lines. That's how they want people to be divided against. Whereas people should be either you care about people or you don't care about people. That should be the groups. People who don't care about people and people who care about people. That's it. That should be the only division. And it's really easy to see which groups don't care about people and which groups do care about people. You know what I mean? Where's Leon?
COE. Big up COE. Is the cameras on? Is it live? Is it live? Fam, is it live? Oh shit, I'm 19 years old. 19.
Look, there was the racist, what's her name? Racist Sophia Films. Hey, what's up, Sophia? We're here, you're not here because you ain't got the guts to come here. Don't worry, Sophia, we'll make everybody Muslim. Just for you. Take care.
Bro, this Sophia Films women, yeah? I've seen you comment, you want the death penalty for some people, yeah? You want to kill some people. I've seen a comment, she said she want to kill Ali Dawa. You want to kill Ali Dawa, you want to kill Hijab. What's wrong with you? Honestly, I don't understand how people support Sophia Films. Whoever supports her, you're just as crazy as her. She's the one that's actually violence, bro.
Yeah, she is. That's Sophia. She's like a typical Christian. They want violence for everybody. And they cry when you offer it to them.
Over. La ilaha illallah.
Respect.
Content over everything. From your
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Yearbook. No, it was in the yearbook, and they took it down. And someone actually got it before they took it down, madam.
You're sure
and that's why they know that.
Ford's credible, are you?
Are you saying she wasn't raped? You know that
Of course she wasn't.
She said she was sexually assaulted.
Okay,
And she lied, and she lied, and she couldn't even put an argument.
How do you know she lied?
She thought at some point she remembers being at a party, but maybe someone touched her, and she's convinced, but she can't remember where it was or when it was, but it was definitely.
And her friends couldn't back her up.
Definitely him.